Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. Today guys, we're going to be taking another look here at Bitcoin to see what's been going on with the price action of BTC. Now as I get into this, if you do find it useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you are going to be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. If you haven't done so yet, join us in Discord. Links in the description down below. Fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. We do a lot more technical analysis down there for our members, so why not go ahead and check it out? I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find. Right, let's jump down into Bitcoin here and see what's been going on most recently. We've actually taken out some key technical resistance areas for Bitcoin. We might hopefully turn these into a support line, and then we should be looking at a few additional things. So we are taking a look at Binance data here. This is the 1 hour chart, and we're paired up with USDT. I just want to kind of take us back to a couple of key points in Bitcoin's history here, just to kind of highlight, the potential risk of what we were looking at, right? And some of the important things that kind of follow it, right? So ultimately, we had this pullback just here. Now, if we measure the distance on this from this low point to this high point, just using the fib tool, and we were to transpose it over to the bounce, this high bounce just here, this was indicating potentially that it would come down to $34,000. Now, technically speaking, this is now changed a little bit. Okay, we've moved up, but I also think that actually there's a higher probability that we'll never see that within this particular wave count. Okay, we might see it in a different set of wave counts, but not in this kind of immediate kind of wave count that we have here. So essentially what this was a big corrective pattern of a big A wave, a big B wave up, and then potentially coming down to test this low trend line of about $34,500 or 34,800 to be fair, right? So if I go ahead and remove that, that was kind of one outcome here. And then of course we're tracking a sub wave count, right? From this low point to this high point here. And then there was a bounce right in the middle there, which if I actually measure this differently, because I did that slightly incorrectly, we should put it right about, yeah, there. And then we bounced up to this point, and then we can see that this was coming down to about $36,000, right? So this would have been a sub-wave count of an A, B, and C taking us down here. So you can see how we were coming down between, $34,000, $36,000, right? That was kind of the bearish kind of scenario. Now, what's happened is we've gone higher, okay? So this section just over here, this candle from a few hours ago has gone higher than our B-wave high, okay? So this gone higher here. This basically means this particular candle has invalidated this $36,000 low, okay? Which means basically that cannot happen within this wave count, okay? And we were actually tracking a different wave count. So essentially that there was our C wave low. That C wave low came in at $37,500. And anyone who's been familiar with our, or at least a Patreon member down in Discord will know that we've been talking about that quite a bit. So ultimately that's looking pretty good and pretty progressive, right? So, we can put an end to that. Now, in order for us to invalidate this $34,000 low, we have to go higher than the level that we have over here, okay? So to put in that into kind of number sense for you, that would be we have to go higher than 45,400, okay? So that's kind of the target right up there, okay? So if we can get that, that would invalidate this wave count, and in fact, therefore, we have the low just down here, and that's that, okay, kind of done, put to bed, if you will, okay? So knowing that, we obviously can start to think about what's going on afterwards, right? So we can tidy this up and we'll just remove some of these wave counts, okay? And we'll start talking about what's going on here. Why are we moving up and all of that kind of good stuff. So obviously we've been talking about, how the supply has been getting a bit of a squeeze, right? We've seen pretty much since January, Bitcoin leaving the exchanges day on day, right? Constantly leaving, thousands of Bitcoin leaving the exchanges. The balance of Bitcoin on exchanges has been decreasing. It's at a 3-year low right now. So basically what that does is it creates a bit of a squeeze on the available Bitcoin for purchase, right? So as people start to buy up Bitcoin, there's less and less actually available on the exchanges, and as a result of that, you find that the price will move sharply to the upside, or a little bit more, right? Now, we haven't actually experienced any decent FOMO just yet. Okay, so we're not seeing that kind of huge kind of price push for Bitcoin per se. We've got a good kind of progress here, a good move to the upside. There's nothing, you know, to kind of be worthy or noteworthy just yet. It's good, but it's not brilliant, right? But ultimately, you know, if we start to see some FOMO, or we start to see retail investors really piling into Bitcoin, this is going to move rapidly to the upside. And of course, we should be very cautious over who has been buying up so much Bitcoin over the last several months, and what they intend to do with that Bitcoin once, you know, Bitcoin's price has moved up steadily, right? Because I think there's an end game at foot here where Bitcoin's being steadily accumulated by whales during all of these kind of down kind of phases, these corrective phases, these bearish sentiment phases, right? And basically, they've been taking it off of the exchanges, creating a squeeze on the supply. Eventually, that's going to go back on the exchanges. And when it does, you know, and when they potentially dump it on the market, when Bitcoin's hit whatever target that they have in mind, this price is going to come crashing down very fast. Okay, so we should be very aware of what causes, you know, price movements, right? Because it's nothing to do with market cap. It's nothing to do with, you know, the quantity of money necessarily going in. It's all about the supply and demand, right? You hear this all the time, no matter what industry you're in. Supply and demand is absolutely everything. If there's a little supply but high demand, the price goes up, right? And this is just a common thing that we should just be very aware of, right? It's pretty much common sense. So when it comes to Bitcoin here, you've got the squeeze on the supply. We haven't seen the demand kick in yet, but when we do, this thing is going to pop to the upside. Okay, so we should be very cautious over these things. So obviously there's opportunity in that, but there's also risk. Okay, a risk that eventually it comes down. So we should just be aware it's not going to go up forever. But that being said, you know, right now we've got pretty good wave counts going on, right? And we can acknowledge that it's a very choppy move going up here, right? Very corrective. It's not a trend setter. Okay, and that's an important one to kind of note. Okay, so what we've done is we've taken out that key technical area. Okay, so we've stopped ourselves from going down to those low points within this particular set of wave counts. And we can see here, you know, that we have basically just very, very corrective moves, right? ABC up, ABC down, ABC up. Really sharp decrease here, but we've actually looked at this previously. There's an ABC inside of that hourly candle. Very, very quick, sharp drop there. Then we move up pretty steadily here. Now we can look at this a couple of different ways. I think the best way to kind of look at it and to save kind of drawing out all of the noise is to probably draw our fib from this high point to this low point here. And then again, just transpose it over to the low point that was afterwards. And then this gives us our target, which we are heading towards at about 43,600. And again, you know, if we do go up higher and towards that 46,600, that's the impulsive trigger. Okay, and essentially what that would look like would be if I were to draw this on, and we just bring that back down a little bit there. So this is a wave A, this is a wave B, and this would be a wave C. Okay. Yeah, it just completes it. Now, there's a lot of noise in there. It just saves me drawing all of the little tiny micro movements. Alternatively, even though this doesn't have good sub-wave counts, so it's just kind of be flag number 1, but this could be, you know, a wave 1, wave 2, and if we get that higher move, we end up with these additional waves, right? So that'll be wave 3, pull back for wave 4, and then a big wave 5 going up higher, right? And I did do a video where I kind of mentioned that $49,000 is a possible target that we want to watch out for, but I do feel that $47,500 resonates slightly better. So something to be kind of, you know, optimistic and cautious over at the same time. As I said, we don't have good sub-wave counts for this analysis, though. So, you know, it's something that we might see. Crypto doesn't necessarily follow perfect sub-wave counts on Elliott wave theory, but it's not neat by any stretch of the imagination. So I think for the most part, what we should kind of be open to the idea of is that actually what we've got here is, you know, a larger, let's say, A wave, B wave, and C wave. Then we end up with some kind of corrective pattern, maybe retesting this $42,000 when you make sure that it's a good support level, and then maybe we end up with another additional run. Because my expectation is to kind of hit this $47,500 range just up here, and then that completes the move on the weekly, right? So if I show you that. I've been talking about it for a while, guys. I mean, hopefully, unless you're new to the channel, you're kind of familiar with this bit. But if we zoom on out into our... Actually, I'll do it on the daily because I think the daily will be a little bit easier here to kind of look at. So essentially, we had the move down to the 30... What was that? 32,900, I think it was. Then essentially what we have here is A, B, track up, for $47,500, right? That's the kind of move that we're looking at here, in my opinion. Now, we haven't really tested this low range for a while, so it's also possible that we pull down here first, right? And that was this key moment because we've taken this out. That actually makes it look really, really good. Now, what I can do here is actually articulate that what we've got going on is wave 1, 2, where are you? Up right here, 3, 4, and 5, right? So we had the 5 waves right up here, and then we had 5 waves down and then 3 up, so 5, 5, 3. It's all very, very odd because this is not good structure, but it is the movements of what Bitcoin has been doing. Now, if we actually take a look at this movement here, potentially are on the cusp of another impulsive break here, but much, much bigger, right? So that's the kind of thing that we're hoping for, and we're kind of really watching out for. Now, if I do take this movement and I move it over to here, you can see that again, moving up into that 46,800 range makes that an impulsive move. So hitting 47,500 within here would make a lot of sense. And again, we're still following potentially sub wave counts on our daily, so it's just really noisy on the hourly. But for the most part, looking pretty good in here. I know a lot of people are worried about this. This potentially being some kind of triangular wedge that takes us down lower, which is also a possibility. And I've spoken about this in the past, right? The only way to kind of disprove it is to kind of move up into new all-time highs. But this does take us down to about $21,000. I don't think that's going to play out, but it is a possibility, so we should acknowledge it. And the reason that they think this, or people think this, is that this is a continuation, which is fine. It is technically a continuation. So pattern comes down, or trend comes down in, right? We have continuation, and then we continue the trend to the downside. That is a possibility. The other thing that gets thrown around is the terminology of a triangle. So people say, oh, it's A, there's B, there's C, there's D, there's E. Then you break down from here. Okay, like so. And the problem with this is that Elliott wave triangles have very specific rules assigned to them as well, right? So you should have only 3 waves inside each of them. So it should be ABC, 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 ABC. But instead we've got 5 waves, 5 waves, 3 waves, right? So it doesn't meet the sub wave counts. And again, like I said earlier, sometimes that for crypto, because it's not as liquid as the Dow Jones, sometimes it doesn't have perfect sub wave counts. So it's possible that that still plays out, but I don't think it's probable based on the monthly stochastic RSI, which is completely oversold. So to pull back down to $21,000, you first of all have to push up. Okay, so that would actually break the triangle, in my opinion. You'd break out of the triangle, invalidating any potential moves to the downside anyway. So I think it's very, very I think it's possible, I just don't think it's probable, okay? So on that note, I will just briefly talk about this before we finish the video off, which is, of course, the fact that we are oversold on our stochastic RSI. So the momentum behind the price. Last time with this oversold was the beginning of the bull run, which was January of 2019. And then, of course, we take a look at where we are right now, February 2022. And we are in a very same position from a stochastic RSI, and we obviously know what happened between here and here, so we can kind of come to our own conclusions as to what we think will happen when we raise this stochastic RSI to the upside. Guys, I'm going to leave the video there. If you have found it useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you are going to be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. With all that said, done and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.